on for a great sacrifice. And Nanda Maharaj told him, this performance is traditional because rainfall is due to the mercy of King Indra, and the clouds are his representatives. Water is so important for our living. We must show some gratitude to the controller of rainfall, Maharaj Indra. So we want to pacify him. Without rainfall, we can't farm, we can't produce grains, we can't live if there's no rainfall. And then when Krishna heard this, he began to speak in such a way to make Lord Indra very angry. Thank you. He suggested that they forget the sacrifice. He didn't want to perform it. He had two reasons to discourage this sacrifice to Indra. First, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, there's no need to worship the demigods. Any results from worshiping demigods are temporary. So, secondly, whatever result that one derives from worshiping the demigods is actually granted by the permission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, the Supreme Lord is the one that actually helps us, not the demigod. The demigod is just one of his agents, but we want to go to the direct source. No. So Krishna spoke a lot with his father to kind of get him to understand, and finally, well, not finally, but at one point his father said, okay, my dear boy, since you're asking, I'll arrange for a separate sacrifice for the local Brahmins at Govardhana Hill. But for the present, I want to do this Indra Yajna. And then Krishna said to his father, Father, don't delay. The sacrifice you propose for Govardhan and the local Brahmins will take a lot of time. Better take the arrangements and paraphernalia you already have started for Indra, and don't offer it to Indra, transfer it directly to Govardhana Hill. So, finally, Nanda Maharaj said, okay, we will do that. So, they prepared nice foodstuffs from the grains, ghee collected for the yajna, rice, dal, halwa, pakora, puri, milk crepes, sweet rice, sweet ball, sandesh, rasagula, laddu. They made so many nice things. And the learned Brahmins chanted Vedic hymns and offered oblations to the fire. They decorated all the cows and they fed the cows very nicely. They gave money and charity to the Brahmins, and even they fed the dogs, the chandalas, and sumptuous prasadam. And then the sacrifice Govardhana Puja began. And Krishna said, this sacrifice will very much satisfy me. Lord Krishna said. And the sacrifice known as Govardhana Puja is observed in the Krishna consciousness movement. Lord Chaitanya has recommended that since Krishna is worshipable, so his land, Vrindavan and Govardhana Hill, are also worshipable. We have right on our altar, we have a Giri Govardhan. We have a stone from Govardhana Hill, And these stones are Shilas, Shalagram Shila. It's non-different from Lord Krishna. So we put it right on the altar and worship him. He's there. If you see Radha Brajabihari, and below them is Radha Damodar, and then to Radha Damodar's right, it would be our left-hand side of that altar is Giri Govardhana. Giri Pita, Giri save us, please. So they started this puja in order to chastise Indra, who was very much puffed up at being the supreme controller of the heavenly planets. That's what Prabhupada says. Prabhupada wrote this. So they did a wonderful, they circumambulated the hill. You can still do that. It's quite a large hill. If you ever get a chance to look on the map of Braja, the Vrindavan area, Govardhana Hill, does anybody know it's like either 14 or 18 kilometers? So in miles, I'm not sure what it is, 12 or something around. But it is shaped exactly like a peacock. And the head of the peacock is Radhakund and Shamakund. And then it comes down and there's a tail. The tail isn't open like when they open up, but it's closed tail peacock. It's exactly shaped like a peacock. Amazing. Govardhana Hill. Huge sacrifice for thousands of people. And chanting Vedic hymns, offering prasadam, Krishna, when he assumed, or he transferred himself into a huge transcendental form, and declared to the inhabitants of Vrindavan that he himself, in order to convince them that the Govardhana Hill and Krishna are identical. And he ate all the food offered there. And Krishna also declared, one who neglects the worship of Govardhana Puja will not be happy. There are many snakes on Govardhana Hill, and persons neglecting the duty of Govardhana Puja will be bitten by these snakes and killed. That's what Krishna said. But we want the good fortune of the cows and of our whole families, so therefore we perform Govardhana Puja, like tonight. And what happened is that Indra saw that they stopped his puja, his sacrifice, and he got quite irate. He actually became livid, which means very angry. And what did he do? He said, what? He called some Vartika cloud, a huge cloud that's only there for devastation. And the cloud came just right over Govardhana Hill and stayed there. Huge black cloud. And it began to pour incessant rain. And in fact, it rained for a full week. Without stopping and really coming down in buckets. They say, in India sometimes they say pillars and posts. We say cats and dogs for some reason, I don't know why, in America, but they say pillars and posts. The rain was coming down so heavy. And it was so heavy that it was starting to flood everybody out, and they were afraid of being killed. The cows and everybody were getting flooded because the water was rising. So what happened? Krishna, very nonchalantly, picked up the entire, as we mentioned, and he picked it up, but he picked it up with the little finger only. Why? Because in our whole body, one of the weakest things is our little finger. Most people are right-handed, so left hand is the weakest. So he just, picked it up like it was a mushroom, it says, Prabhupada says in the book. Like it was a mushroom, he picked it up. And I like to think like an umbrella or something, So he picked it up, held it up like an umbrella, and all the cows and inhabitants of Braja got under the mountain and were saved. Giri Govardhana ki jai. Jai Giri Govardhana. And because before that they were praying, Giri, help us, we're going to drown. So then he did that. And Indra, so he cursed the action of the inhabitants of Vrindavan and said, by defying the authority of the demigods, the inhabitants of Vrindavan will suffer in material. Having neglected the sacrifice of the demigods, he said, they cannot cross over the impediments of the ocean of material misery. These cowards elected my authority on the advice of this talkative boy, Govinda, who is known also as Krishna. He is nothing but a child, and by believing this child, they have enraged me. So, but then what happened after a full week of the rain, and Giri was holding it up the whole time, didn't waver for a second. And when Indra saw this, he was like, actually Prabhupada said he was thunderstruck. Indra was thunderstruck, Prabhupada says. So then somehow he started to come to his senses and he stopped the rain. And then he actually, his false ego was smashed, actually, is what happened, by not having the yajna for him. So his false ego was smashed, and he began to come to his senses a little. Oh, this is not really an ordinary child. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I must be an idiot. So Indra started to be sorry that he had offended the Lord. And he came to him in person and offered prayers and actually took the milk of the Surabhi cow, the wish-fulfilling cow, and bathed Lord Govinda with the milk from the cow. And he offered many nice prayers to Krishna. So this is how Lord Indra was saved from being totally puffed up and, falling into the deep, dark modes of material nature. And he was saved, and Lord Krishna showed him his parashakti, his internal potency, or the superior energy of God. This is one of the reasons why we all chant sacred mantras and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Why? Because we also would love to be absorbed in the internal potency of God, as opposed to letting the modes of material nature completely control us, being controlled by the inferior energy. No, we want to be, Prabhupada would use the example, he would say, either the modes can control you, or if you are Krishna conscious and trying to purify yourself with devotional service and taking only prasadam and chanting the Maha Mantra, then it's like, Prabhupada would say, it's like lying on the lap of Krishna. Means that instead of the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, dealing with you, you're going to be dealt with personally by Lord Govinda. That's the difference. So that's why we're striving to be absorbed in the internal potency of God. It's also called the Antaranga Shakti. So that's what we want to be absorbed in. So this is what Lord Krishna in this pastime of Giri Govardhana, he taught his father and all of the cowherd men and all of the inhabitants of that they don't necessarily have to worship the demigods. Of course, we always respect the demigods because they are Krishna's agents, but we should directly worship the Lord instead. So this is what he wanted to show, and he performs many, does many different purposes with one action. So on the one hand, he chastened Lord Indra and got him to understand that he's actually Nitai Swarup Krishna Das. He's a servant of Krishna also, along with all of us. And at the same time, he taught his father and the cowherd men also that they don't have to worship the demigods. They should worship Govardhana Hill. And by the way, Govardhana Hill is non-different from Krishna. So they all learned that. And so, as I said, even today, everybody can go to Govardhana Hill if you go to the Braja area, and it's very sanctified, to say the least. In the book, the Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada states that Radhakund, which is on Govardhana Hill, is it's the most holy place in the whole universe. So we like to go. Prabhupada wanted the devotees to go to India if they could. He said you should go once a year to get purified and to fall in love with the holy Dham. Why? Because actually the Dham is non-different from Krishna. Or if you go to Mayapur, it's non-different from Lord Chaitanya. So thank you very much for coming today, and we hope that we're going to go around, everybody's going to circumambulate our Giri Govardhana. You get to circumambulate actually Govardhana Hill, which you get during Kartik. If you circumambulate Govardhana Hill, you get a huge benediction, and it's during Kartik the benediction is multiplied 1,000 times, and in a holy place it's multiplied 1,000,000 times. So we're all going to actually circumambulate Govardhana